Hello and welcome to the News at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, with gas and electricity prices set to rise again this winter, campaigners say families across Scotland are also struggling with energy debt. We'll ask what you can do if you're struggling. Also tonight, another defection to reform from the Conservatives as the party gains an MSP. And as Hearts hope to score with AI, we'll ask whether artificial intelligence risks taking the beauty out of the beautiful game. And we will have all the actual sport too with Sheila. Lots more football to talk about tonight, Sheila.
Sure is, Laura. We'll bring you the Rangers team who will try to secure Champions League football by overcoming Club Brugge, and we'll reflect on Celtic missing their opportunity to play in Europe's elite competition.
And later we'll meet an artist who performed with pop sensation Chapel Roan last night in Edinburgh. Hi, I'm Laura McKeever. Welcome to the News at 7. Our gas and electricity bills will rise again this autumn when the new energy price cap takes effect. It will kick in from the 1st of October and means households using a typical amount of energy will pay £1,755 a year. That's up £35 a year. Prices have been fairly stable since 2023, but they remain far higher than they were in early 2022, when the price cap was closer to £1,000 a year for the typical household paying by direct debit. Well, here is what some attending a lunch club in Bells Hill today had to say about this new rise.
I have to actually sit to balance my money, because with the increase in all the bills going, I've got to make sure I've got money to pay for the bills that are essentials.
Energy bills are up, supermarket bills are up, everything's up. If you can't walk, you have to get a taxi down to the supermarket. It costs you more money, and our money hasn't went up.
The gas bill and the electric bill just rise all the time. You have no say in the matter. They just do it.
Well, campaigners say many households are struggling to pay new bills as well as repay energy debt that's built up during an extended period of high prices. I've been hearing more from Kate Cunningham from Energy Action Scotland.
Energy is 68% more expensive than it was in winter 2021. That's an extraordinary amount of money. And so I'm worried that we're normalising these really high energy costs, because when people can't afford energy, then they're compromising their health and well-being. They can't stay warm enough, they can't cook food, they can't produce hot water in the home. And these are the kind of things that are pushing people into services and making them really unwell.
Help us understand what kind of choices some people are having to make, and especially because every time we talk to you, we bring up the topic of energy debt too. Some people are already in energy debt, aren't they?
The energy debt situation is at crisis level now. So the last quarter, UK consumer energy debt exceeded £4.1 billion. Now that's an unrepayable amount of money. So traditionally what happens is, for instance, if you pay by direct debit, is over the summer you use less energy, and so you build up a little bit of credit. People are not able to do that now because the levels of debt are so high that whatever they can manage in their budget for energy, part of it's going to repay debt. That also ties you to your supplier and it ties you to your tariff. So you've got much less choice about seeking better deals elsewhere that might well save you some money. And this could be the case for 10 years for some people who owe thousands and thousands of pounds.
How frustrating is it that part of this rise in bills is partly down to the result of the higher expected costs to transmit energy to where it's needed in the country at certain times?
The cost of the infrastructure of our energy supply in this country should be on general taxation. It shouldn't be on bills. We've got people who are the poorest and most compromised paying for infrastructure they'll never use, for like recharging of EVs, for instance. That's not okay. That needs to go into general taxation because we all rely on it. Everybody benefits from it, and so it's a benefit to us all, not just to bill payers. This is unfair. The daily standing charge we all pay every single day.
Just finally, how can you advise people? It's not even autumn yet, but how can you advise them going into this autumn-winter period?
Ask for help. do contact your supplier. Suppliers often have funds or support mechanisms that might benefit you. There might be a better tariff for you. If you don't have debt and you're free to move, then do look at some of the deals, because there are deals out there right now that will save you money.
OK, Kate, really good advice. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Next tonight, the leader of Reform, Nigel Farage, visited Scotland today to announce another Conservative defection to his party. This time, it was Central Scotland List MSP Graham Simpson. It makes him Reform's only serving MSP, although they also have 16 councillors. Our political correspondent David Wallace-Lockhart was there for the announcement.
So Nigel Farage held a press conference in this hotel on the outskirts of Livingston earlier today, and when he walked into the room he was accompanied by the Conservative MSP Graham Simpson. But of course Graham Simpson is no longer a Conservative MSP. This was him announcing his defection to the Reform Party. There have been questions for quite some time about whether or not a Conservative MSP was on the verge of going over to Reform. It's now happened, and here's what Graham Simpson had to say.
It's fair to say that some of you won't be surprised to see me here, given that the Scottish Tories have been touting my name as a potential defector for months now. So today I'm giving them what they want, but perhaps not for the reasons that they think. Leaving the party that I first joined when I was 15 is an enormous wrench.
Now, Graham Simpson didn't seem to have massive policy differences with the Scottish Conservatives. He says he wants to be part of building something from the bottom up, sees the opportunity, I suppose, to be quite influential with Reform's policies. He says this isn't a career move to try and ensure he gets returned to Holyrood at the next Holyrood election in 2026, but of course it won't have escaped his attention that the Conservatives are in a fairly bleak place in the polls, whereas Reform are looking to be in a much more positive position heading towards that election. Tough times, of course, for the Scottish Conservatives, who have now lost 3 MSPs this year, one to the Lib Dems, one's become an independent, and now Graham Simpson has given Reform an MSP at Holyrood.
David Wallace-Lockhart reporting there. And here's what the Conservatives' UK leader, Kemi Badenoch, had to say about Graham Simpson's defection.
Well, the truth is that we are the only voice on the right. Reform is talking about nationalisation. That's not a centre-right policy. Reform is talking about even more welfare, when welfare is at a record high. That is not a centre-right policy. The people who are leaving the Conservative Party are showing that they were never Conservatives.
Meanwhile, Mary McCallan of the SNP described Mr Farage as the ultimate symbol of Westminster failure.
This is the tale as old as time. What we have here is a wealthy man backed by even wealthier men, stirring up division and fear in our communities amongst ordinary people.
Well, one of the biggest drivers of Reform's recent popularity has been the issue of migration. Reform say they bar anyone who comes to the UK on small boats from claiming asylum amid a backdrop of increased tension around the issue. These were the scenes at the weekend during a protest outside a hotel in Perth that's housing asylum seekers. But what are the facts around this type of migration? Well, according to the Migration Observatory, there are around 6,100 asylum seekers living here in Scotland, mostly in Glasgow. Nearly 1,600 of them are living in hotels, while another 4,000 are in houses or flats. Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Nuni Jorgensen and asked why more people are arriving to the UK on small boats.
Yeah, so you're seeing increasing numbers of people coming in small boats to the UK, especially since late 2024. And the reason for this is various. So we have ongoing conflicts in people's countries of origin, which are forcing them to flee. It's increasingly hard for people to come via train or via lorries, and then they are choosing to come via small boats instead. And because of this rise in demand, we are seeing the increasing professionalization smuggling networks operating across the channel.
And do we know where they're coming from, what the demographic is as well in relation to age and gender and other things?
So many of them are coming from countries such as Afghanistan, and in terms of the demographics, this is the vast majority of people are adult men, and this is probably because of the dangers associated with crossing in small boats. The one thing that we know is that even though most people are men, are young men, after they arrive in the UK, and if their asylum claim is successful, they go on into asking for refugee family reunion, and then to bring, for example, partners and small children. And then the demographics of the refugee population in the UK is actually more gender balanced than the demographics of people coming via small boats.
So what proportion of people who apply for asylum here end up being granted it?
Yeah, so the latest figures is 47% of people who apply for asylum in the UK have their asylum granted. That means some sort of positive decision. It could be refugee status or some other form of protection.
What do we know about the number of people who end up coming to Scotland?
In Scotland, we have, as of June 2025, we had 6,100 people who were being supported. And that includes people, for example, living in hotels, and people living in dispersal accommodation, which is basically flats and shared houses across the community.
Dr. Nooni Jurgensen, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Now, Aberdeen school pupils will be offered a new mental health counselling service after the collapse of the Mental Health Aberdeen charity last month. The new service is a partnership between the City Council and the Scottish Association for Mental Health. Our reporter Louise Hosey has more.
Mental Health Aberdeen's sudden collapse in July meant school pupils returning this term no longer had access to the counselling services it had previously provided. Its closure led to concern from parents and some counsellors that it was leaving young people without their lifeline, as well as rupturing strong relationships already built up. Aberdeen City Council has now announced details of a new partnership with mental health charity SAMH. It will include face-to-face counselling, resilience programmes and a text option to request help. Martin Gregg is the Council's Education Committee convener. He says he believes this new service will be an improvement on what was in place before.
There's going to be a variety of methods of communication, online, in person. A much more diverse offering is going to be created. And I think that's very positive.
Councillor Gregg couldn't confirm exactly when this new service will start, but has said that it's at an advanced stage. He also couldn't confirm figures for the exact number of counsellors. In a statement, SAMH says it moved quickly to offer assistance when it became clear that young people and their families in Aberdeen could be left without mental health support. The charity says it has a track record of supporting young people across Scotland, a strong presence in Aberdeen, and it looks forward to working with the council to ensure help is provided to those who need it as quickly as possible. Louise Hosey, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Right, let's get a roundup now of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland. A 20-year-old man's been arrested and charged after an alleged indecent exposure in a primary school in Glasgow. Police were called to St Mungo's Primary yesterday morning. 2 potential sites for a new drug consumption room have been identified in Edinburgh. It would be the second facility of its kind after the Thistle Centre opened in Glasgow in January. And plans for a landmark artwork near the Scotland-England border have been approved by local councillors. Standing more than 100 feet high, the Star of Caledonia will be built near Gretna Green. And for more information on all of these stories, you can scan the QR code. It's there for you on the screen now, and it will take you to the BBC Scotland News website, where there is much more for you, including the story of the island castle that's back on the market. And we are always happy to hear from you here on News at 7. If you want to get in touch, our email address there for you on the screen now. It's news7@bbc.co.uk. That's news7@bbc.co.uk. Do get in touch. Still to come, we have the weather with Judith and a metal detectorist's Viking discovery in the Western Isles too. But first, it's sport time with Sheila.
Good evening. A big couple of nights of Champions League playoff action continues this evening with Rangers in Belgium to try and overturn a 3-1 deficit from the first leg against Club Brugge. Here is the starting 11 that head coach Russell Martin has picked for that task. No places in the midfield for Nico Raskin and Mo Diamandi. Instead, it's Lyle Cameron and Tello Asgard. James Tavernier is on the bench, as is Cyril Dessers, who returns from injury. Martin would love this evening to turn out to be a memorable one for the right reasons.
I think football fans, wherever you are happy when their team's winning. So we have to do that for them, and then I'm sure we'll enjoy many brilliant moments together. We've had a couple already of nights where it's felt, Panathinaikos at home, away, Pilsen at home was fantastic. So we need to create more moments like that for them.
Well, Celtic know it's definitely going to be Europa League rather than Champions League football for them this season after a defeat on penalties against Kairat Almaty in Kazakhstan last night, which former Celtic captain Paul Lambert says the players need to take most of the blame for.
I always think the game of football is played by players. Brendan can only do his job. Never look for a manager or never look for fans or board to take the blame. You always blamed yourself. So I think the players have got to take a little bit of it, or most of it, because they play the game. Brendan doesn't play the game. All he can do is try and pick the best. But the players have got to deliver, especially when the big games come on.
It's a result that has left Celtic fans rueing the missed opportunity of Europe's elite competition and the lucrative financial rewards which go with it. We gauged the mood earlier.
I'm embarrassed to be a Celtic fan watching that. That was ridiculous, no?
Who gets the blame for it?
Manager, the players and the board, the whole lot.
The facts are they are in the strongest financial position they have ever been in their history, and the lack of investment has been absolutely flabbergasting and disappointing to say the least.
Really fed up, sick, so tired of it. So at the start of the season, they've had new players in, they've took that long and then they're saying they've got one or two coming in, but it's too late.
Finally, next game, Rangers at Ibrox. How big does it make that one?
Well, they're not Partick Thistle, they're our main Glasgow rivals. We've got them in the League Cup, that's more a worry.
So Celtic fans maybe not happy with Europa League football, but for all connected with Aberdeen, that's what they're aiming for. And Captain Graham Shinney says achieving it would be massive for all the players' careers. The Dons are in Bucharest for the second leg of their playoff against FCSB tomorrow, with the tie poised at 2-2 following Aberdeen's fight back at Pittodrie last week. 34-year-old Shinney is eager to produce the performance required.
I'm still involved in these big games, and I've still got opportunities to continue to achieve things in my career, and if I could drive the team on to qualify for the Europa League, it would be another massive moment in my career. It's not something that I'm overly focused on. I'm more focused on the game and what we have to do in the game. But naturally after it, if you can achieve it, then it's a massive thing for all our careers.
Well, lots more to read and watch on the BBC Sports Scotland website, including a live text build-up and commentary of Rangers' match against Bruges in Belgium, and a look ahead to tomorrow's big games. Lots of drama ahead, perhaps.
There always is. Sheila, thank you so much. We're going to stay with sport now, because you may know that the AI tycoon Tony Bloom has invested £10 million into Hearts Football Club, telling fans he'll be disappointed if they don't win the league in the next 10 years. Well, his analytics company is among those changing the way players and coaching staff are recruited, focusing on data rather than traditional scouting methods. 7 out of the 12 Scottish Premiership clubs have told BBC Scotland that they're using AI for scouting and analytics. Here's one expert on football recruitment on how AI could be used to scout new players.
So it wouldn't be data and numbers. Do you think he'll fit he's got good numbers, he'll fit like a running 9, you know. We'll have a simulated video of a player and he'll go straight to the manager with a simulated video, and you'll think, look, he does fit us, you know, or his style of play, because every manager's different.
But is it taking the beauty out of the beautiful game? Well, Rohan Whitehead is from the Institute of Analytics.
So artificial intelligence is now being used to really determine the data points that matter to coaching staff. There's a lot of noise in data, and a lot of data is really irrelevant to how players actually perform on the day. AI is being used to train on player data and build models that are really effective on and off the pitch for player well-being and form.
Give us an idea of how it's actually being used, a good modern day example in a sport about how it's being used and whether it actually makes any difference as well to performance.
So last year in 2024, OpenAI actually built a model that analysed Liverpool, the Premier League football club's corner kicks, 7,000 of them, and determined which styles worked better and worse for the team. After the analysis, football experts from Liverpool FC took a look at its outputs and determined that this advice and these insights were better for the team and should be implemented into their strategy going forward. This is an example of really AI looking at data and giving insights, but paired with human oversight and human expertise.
Could this use of data and artificial intelligence also end up maybe leading a team down the wrong path? It could end up being problematic.
Yeah, so what people have to remember, and the Institute of Analytics believe this strongly, is that AI and the usefulness of AI is only as good as the human oversight it's paired with. In the end, coaches and football experts have the skills to integrate AI outputs into their own specific team strategies. Teams should not forget the strengths and weaknesses of their own players. In the end, football is a resource game and every team has different resources.
Do you think it could end up changing the face of, for example, Scottish football, which is so dominated historically by Rangers and Celtic? Do you think that could maybe in 10 years or so be a different story?
Yeah, so the early innovation of using data analytics and AI to really boost your club's performance may help close the gap between middling teams and the top teams. However, this is also a bit of a double-edged sword, as we do see in other sports such as Formula One. Over-investment by teams who have more resources can increase the gap as well as decrease the gap. So it really depends on what legislations take place and how this use of AI and data is administered in sports analytics for any specific sport. But for the time being, this is a really good investment for Hearts to make, and it's a really promising investment for their short-term future.
Rohan Whitehead there. Well, we're going from the future to the past now, because an artefact found by a metal detectorist in the Western Isles might be from the late Viking era. The possible Viking bronze was discovered on Benbecula, and it's thought to date between 950 and 1100 AD. It's now being studied by experts, as Cameron Angus Mackay reports.
After hours of searching, sometimes you hit the right spot.
Just recently I found what we believe is a Viking bronze. Once you find something, what you have to do is weigh it, take a photo of it, get the precise details of where you found it.
The artefact is about 2 inches long and resembles a wild boar with a serpent's head above it. It's being examined by Treasure Trove Scotland, the organisation that investigates archaeological discoveries.
They've basically said to me that they're not exactly sure what it is, but they reckon it dates between 950 and 1100.
How much do we know about Vikings in the Western Isles?
If this find is confirmed to be of the Viking era and from Benbecula, it's very important because it's an area where we know there's a lot of Viking presence, there's a lot of Viking place names, there's great sites in North and South Uist. Bornish, for example, in South Uist has been extensively studied for its Viking presence, but there's not really much from Benbecula.
Donald says the biggest reward is knowing the artefact may have belonged to someone who walked on the same island 1,000 years ago. Cameron Angus Mackay, reporting Scotland.
Fascinating. Now, if you were watching last night, you will know that the singer Chapel Roan's in Scotland for 2 sold-out shows. And it was an extra special experience for Dumfries-based drag artist Divine Tension. She was one of 3 Scottish performers handpicked by Chapel's team to open the show.
Just to see that scale of people was absolutely insane. And then I went on stage and I did the thing. It was a 7.5 minute long, really high energy mix. So by the end of it, I was very out of breath. And it's just been really overwhelming since it happened. I think, importantly, Chapel's team and their decision to have drag artists perform and open for Chapel at the start of her gigs in every city that she's been to is a tremendous opportunity, and I'm just in absolute awe of the fact that they've given us this opportunity and this platform. And I think what she's doing is using her platform to really enrich drag culture, because I think it's super important, especially in today's climate. She's a massive advocate as a queer person herself, a massive advocate for performance artists getting their moment.
What a moment indeed for Divine. OK, weather time now with Judith, and this looks absolutely stunning.
Look at these gorgeous
and these lovely pooches, but I'm not sure about behind you down in Inverclyde.
Yeah, well, that was what we did see as well. This is frontal cloud, as you can see, that thick grey cloud there behind me, and that weather front crossed the country today, but it really stayed dry and sunny for much of the day over the northeast and over the west. I saw some lovely weather too. A couple of hours worth of rain, and some would say that we needed the rain as well, but there is more in the forecast over the next couple of days. A very good evening to you. Look at this low pressure system that's throwing out outbreaks of rain here and there as well. Now, first thing tomorrow morning, we'll have a lot of showers initially across western Scotland with thicker cloud as well. In the east, maybe some brightness. It will be a mild start. Some early sunshine, I think, for northern Aberdeenshire up towards Caithness, and Orkney will brighten up beautifully once again tomorrow. Be a fine day here. Still some of that frontal cloud lying across Shetland with the odd spot of rain or drizzle. Quite a keen wind over the Northern Isles and running up the east coast as well. Those showers start to become more widespread as we head through the course of the day. Some of them will be heavy, they'll be slow moving as well. We might just catch the odd rumble of thunder and brisk winds for coastal areas. I think the best chance of seeing fewer showers and some sunshine up towards Caithness and Orkney, as I mentioned, and that frontal cloud will eventually clear from Shetland later on, so it will brighten up here with some evening sunshine. We could top 20, 21 Celsius along the Murray coast, given any sunshine, but generally into the high teens. Then as we head into tomorrow evening, more showers to come, that low pressure system throwing out more showers, eventually easing for a time, becoming largely confined to the west. So very first thing on Friday morning, generally dry in the east and far north, but once again those showers will start to get going, to become widespread. I think there'll be some more of a risk of thunder or heavy thundery downpours on Friday. Again, high teens temperature wise, winds will be slow, which means that the showers will be very slow to move away. It's a couple of days that you need to take your brolly with you or a waterproof. And then as we head into Saturday, all change again. Now, this low pressure system threatens to bring some very heavy rain. It's the first proper autumnal low coming our way. Spells of heavy rain accompanied by strengthening winds as well. Eventually that rain's making its way right across the country. So we are in for a fairly changeable Sunday as well, with showers or longer spells of rain. Same again on Monday, maybe more chance of some brightness. So autumn is on our doorstep.
You used the autumn word, it's coming. It's like having to get used to rain again. It's quite strange,
it's funny, isn't it? It's just disappointed, but you know we do need it.
We do, absolutely. The rivers definitely do. Judith, thank you for now.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're back again tomorrow at 7, and you can keep up to date on the BBC News Scotland website. But from all of us here, good night and goodbye.